Well, cool, man. Thanks for being on the show.
Yeah, finally.
This is fun. I know.
It's been a minute where we've been trying to schedule.
I've been trying to get this thing going. No.
Brito was like, if you hurt your back, do you really want to do the? And I'm like, no, I'm not canceling that. No, I'm doing that. It's going to be great.
He's like, it'll hurt less to do it with my back hurting than it will to listen to Randy for the next 6 months just berating you for putting me off again. No,
Good.
it's, like, especially with all the stuff that we've been doing lately and all the, the promotion.
Oh, no, you're doing that.
Just a crazy month.
Great.
Yeah, it's just one of those things, but I'm glad we can make it happen today. So I'm excited. So for anybody who doesn't know, Julio, the owner of this gym, where I think that you were here, I was trying to do the math. I think you were here just under 2 years when I started coming here. Yeah, it was like January 2019
When you came?
I came here.
Yeah, I think it was about that time.
Yeah. And it really was just a matter of just kind of dumb luck that I ended up here, in the first place. Cause it really was like the weirdest set of circumstances.
Yeah.
I was talking to JT at the party, and I said, that you could tell that that my relationship with him was important enough because with JT, because in my life, when something happens like that, like right out the gate, not injury. If I show up to like a jiu-jitsu school,
right,
and a month later, my instructor disappears off the face of the planet.
Yeah.
That's about the time when I usually go, yeah, fuck this. The universe is trying to tell me something.
Yeah.
I'm not, this isn't for me.
So you're a fan of ignoring red flags.
I'm not a fan of that. I'm a big believer in red flags.
Gotcha.
But JT was, he was a new blue belt, but he was already, it was that, like a speaker, and he was a wrestler.
Yeah.
And because he was willing to come and teach us in my living room, that was really how, eventually he brought Ray through and he brought Jimmy through,
right,
and they were both here.
Yeah.
So that's how we ended up here.
Right.
And it's such a crazy thing because that school was, like Cesar Gracie, and that's the Gracie fighter, that mentality. They're all MMA fighters, and it's not just
gritty and grungy.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh,
yeah.
I know.
Yeah. Pain and torment.
Yes.
And sitting at belts for a long, long time. And so coming from that environment over to here, even only having spent a couple of weeks over there, a month over there, and then coming over here.
Yeah, that's your whole history. It's like
it was here
1 month, and
then everything else was here. And I literally came over on no stripe white belt. So I feel like I sort of did like a boot camp.
Yeah, it was probation.
Yeah.
It was probation.
Is this right for you? And like you said, there was some major red flags where I was like, if this is how it is, I'm out.
Right.
Luckily, I found out very quickly that's not how it is.
No, that's not how. You definitely had a special circumstance.
Yeah. So I walked in. I told the story of promotions, but I love it because I just think it's such a funny example of sort of who you were to me immediately, and then how that is like the sort of foundation for our relationship going forward. So I walked in and with JT and Puya, the three of us walked in, and you walked over to the mat to greet us and said hello and everything. And so I was kind of like, oh yeah, I gave you just kind of a brief. We've been training in my living room.
I get that every once in a while too, for sure.
And I said, so, but I'm super interested in self-defense.
Right. Okay. I was like, which story are you going to say?
There we go.
Okay.
I'm like super interested in, I'm an old guy. I'm beat up. I really and you're like, yeah, this is a pretty heavy competition based school. And I said, but I can learn some self-defense, right? And you're like, it was like, oh, I'm not here to make you any promises.
Right. Yeah.
And
yeah.
Which I actually appreciated. But you being an owner, and I think you probably, how long before that did you get your black belt?
I got my black belt in 2017.
Okay.
So
So just
that must have been 2 years before you got here.
Yeah.
You got here in 19?
in 19.
Yeah, yeah,
in 19.
Yeah. Yeah.
Where did you start doing jujitsu?
I started training at Davis, UC Davis.
Oh,
It was a grappling club. Um, yeah, I started training with Al. I was he's a blue belt. So it was a sea of white belts and one blue belt.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was fun. It was
Yeah.
fun. Yeah. I always encourage people to like find their local college club.
Mhm.
Just because I had a blast doing it. I never thought it was gonna go anywhere. So I didn't really like focus as much as I probably should have early on. But again, we're all white belts. We're in college.
Yeah.
Our instructor was a blue belt. We trained twice a week. So it wasn't even like such a commitment. And if you missed one class, right, you wouldn't train for a whole week.
Yeah.
That's kind of crazy now to think about. Like, yeah, you're not gonna train for 1 week. That's a big deal.
Yeah.
No, but back then it was like, yeah, I'm just gonna skip jiu-jitsu today. Okay, cool. See you next week, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, no, that was definitely a situation of the blind leading the blind. And it was tough to grow and to learn and to progress, but we did it. That's like the only path at that point. So there was no like instructional, there was no YouTube wasn't even really that big of a thing back then too.
Right.
Yeah, definitely no BJ Fanatics or anything else. There was like some bootleg, Damian Maya instructionals or like maybe not Randy, Ryan Hall or something like that. Like, but it was all like, bootleg stuff. It wasn't anything. Budo videos was a thing. I don't know if you even have any idea what I'm talking about. Yeah, there was like basically like a kind of like a YouTuber at the time that just went around to different schools, and which is really cool. That was kind of like my dream when I was a kid or when I was in college.
Yeah.
He just kind of went around to different schools. He would like train with them, go eat, and then just kind of hang out and just kind of like, share experiences and stuff like that. Like that was kind of cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's something that I definitely wish I will do one day when I get less busy. I don't know when that's going to happen. But
It's the one dream in there rattling around.
When I retire.
That's interesting that you say that because that first school that we went to, it was like there was 3 dedicated nights that they said were jujitsu. So it was a Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday.
What are you talking about?
At the place I was at, that was the schedule because it was run out of a.
So it wasn't every day either.
No.
Oh,
and it was run out of a Taekwondo school.
Oh, we did that too, actually.
Yeah,
we did that too.
So the mats were like those real grippy Taekwondo mats,
like the puzzle mat.
Yeah, not puzzles. They were literally like the ones that were textured for your feet to grab.
Okay.
Not ideal for jujitsu.
Okay.
You can't pivot. You can't do anything. You're just stuck to the floor. And then it was the same thing. Like if my old body couldn't take it by the time Thursday rolled around, I probably got one training class in this week. You know, and then who knows? And then to come here and it's like, oh, there's classes every day of the week, you know, morning, noon, and night. And, on the weekends and like whenever it works for you. And it was like, oh, okay. So I think that it's fair to say that at this point, I was one of those early like addicts, like it really hooked in quick.
Yeah. It's addicting, bro. This is literally like
it's wildly addicting.
Yeah.
And you
terrible.
Terrible. And it's so crazy because so I've been talking a lot about this and especially with Jimmy, and we've been talking about legacy and I want to talk about legacy a little bit with you too. But one of the reasons why jiu-jitsu was so addicting for me was because I had a whole life, I was almost 40, right? I had a whole life of building up these ideas about who I was. And I came in and then one by one, they started getting knocked over. And I was like, what is this? This isn't who I am. Like, I can't take pain. I don't like suffering. I can't endure this. I'm claustrophobic. I have a panic attack. Yeah. I'm going to die in here. Like, what am I doing?
Absolutely.
And then slowly but surely, jiu-jitsu was like, yeah, that's not true. Bro.
Yeah.
Like, that's not true. You're okay. You're going to be okay. So I can imagine, you know, even just having that like grappling club or whatever.
Yeah.
But where does it go from there? So did you pick up
Oh,
like
you
that?
mean
Yeah, for you.
Yeah.
Did you pick up the addiction that quickly?
That's a great question. I actually don't know if I would consider myself addicted back then. I think my friends would definitely think I was addicted, but I don't. It was a very different level of addiction, I would say. I was young. We're talking about like, you know, college, right?
Sure.
Like 19. I think I started at when I was 18 still. I could be wrong, but it was like 18 or 19. Um, and it was right in front of my dorm.
Mm.
So it was like my dorm was here, then basically the chow hall was there, and then the gym, the Arc, at UC Davis. And then so I would go eat or train and then come back and eat, whatever, and then go home. And I think over time, like there was this thing called Spike TV.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
I was like,
Sure.
you remember? You're like, you're not young. You're just young in jiu-jitsu. So, like, yeah.
Right.
Okay, or younger in jiu-jitsu. But no, so Spike TV, they played the UFC fights,
Yeah.
bro. I was all about that when I used to like love watching that stuff. So in that sense, I was like surrounded by it. There's probably some story that I could tell you probably off camera.
Yeah.
Where we utilize jiu-jitsu and
Sure.
anyways. But no, it was definitely a different type of addiction compared to now. I would say before, because you know what? It boils down to like thinking you know everything when you're young. That's the difference. You know what I mean? Like when you're young, you think you know everything, and it's kind of like, you know, the people who think they know the most amount of jiu-jitsu are probably the blue belts. You know what I mean? Like it's that kind of thought process. So when I was young, it definitely it's a different kind of addiction. As you mature in life and in ranks, it changes, and now it's a different kind of addiction. Now it's more like this is where I come to hang out with my friends. This is where I come to relax. This is where I come to just, you know, kind of like have a little bit more of a spiritual therapeutic value kind of thing. It's not the same thing as it was before.
Yeah.
At least I don't really ever think about like, you know, beating anybody up or anything like that. That's not at all how I think about it. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's more like, hey, you want to go hang out? Like that's
Yeah.
basically what it is, right?
Yeah.
So before it was like, yeah, man, let's train, let's go hard, let's play, you know, it's like different, you know, but yeah, it definitely evolved. It definitely evolved over time.
So how long did you stay involved in the grappling club before you moved to a legit school?
Okay, so that's a good question. My instructor, Al, he actually trained under Marcos Yamaso, in Southsack. So then we would commute over there together every once in a while. And I want to say that my blue belt was actually given to me by Marcos and Al together at his academy.
Okay.
So I would probably say I started training over there, but we're talking about like once maybe a week or every 2 weeks or something like that. When I was like 20, 21, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think it was pretty relatively early on because I think I want to say I got my blue belt in about a year and a half or 2 years, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was messy, bro. It was messy. Like not like drama kind of messy, but it was messy like getting belted before.
Sure.
Like the technique was it was trash. You know, it's not my instructor's technique, but like my technique was trash.
Right.
So like, yeah, it's I could definitely say that the blue belts now would definitely destroy me as a blue belt, like for sure, dude. Like Robbie,
Yeah.
kill me. For
Yeah.
example. Yeah.
Robbie.
For example, you know, like,
Yeah.
No, like a lot of these guys would definitely kill me. It was a fun time though. You know, it was like a more I don't know rudimentary type of jujitsu where it was like leg drag, sure. Let's just fucking drill the heck out of leg drags, and you know that's why I love leg drags. Like,
Yeah.
that was like one of my things that I grew up doing.
Yeah.
So like like knee cutting, that was it. Very few techniques. Kind of how it is though, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. So yeah, it was probably like 2 years, let's say, before I went to go check out a legit academy.
Okay. So you have, and I'm sure that you're not unaware of this, you have a little bit of a reputation here for being someone who likes to do a lot of cardio during their classes.
Sure.
Uh, got you guys. Was
We're
that
talking like 10 or 15 minutes. Like these guys is ridiculous.
Julio wants us sweating and gasping for air and dying? You know, and it's funny, I'll get back to it, but I just have this memory that's so funny, and just the way I think.
Yeah.
Um, so you talked me into going to Master Worlds when I was a blue belt.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I was like, okay, whatever. And I went there, and then I was in the pit or whatever, getting ready, warming up, and then you came over and you're like, oh yeah, let me help you get warmed up or whatever. And I was like, okay, cool. And then you just started going hard on me, and I was like, bro, and I'm getting sweaty and I'm getting tired. And you're like, keep going, dude, keep going, keep going. I'm like, bro, I'm about to go to my first match here, and you're like, you're not any good until your third round anyway, bro. It's fine. We're just getting. And I was like, this is stupid. What are we doing? I am not happy. I'm tired right now. But was that something? Have you always been super active like that? Was that always part of your practice?
Yeah. So obviously, I've been training for about 20 years now.
Yeah.
And when we started, like I said, I feel like there was less emphasis on technique. Where we came from, there was a little less emphasis on technique.
Sure.
Remember, we were all white belts together too. So it's like when you're in that kind of group, it like, I feel like even though we were in college, we weren't really using our brain cells to improve. We were just like,
that's probably
stuff,
super,
especially white belts,
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I've always definitely been a little bit more on the cardio, like athletic side. So I definitely kind of push for that.
Yeah.
I always think like at the bare minimum, if nothing else, you have your cardio, and even if you're dying, like probably won't. So you're fine.
Probably
won't, knock on wood, never happened, but not for cardio purposes or anything like that. So yeah, no,
Yeah.
definitely have always pushed that.
So you got your blue belt in South Sac.
Mm-hmm.
Then when did you finally settle into what would become like a longer term academy type of situation? Or did you?
Well, that's a good question, right? So like I actually, what's interesting is that once I graduated from college, then I ended up getting a job in the Bay.
Mm-hmm.
So I went to the Bay for a little bit. And then just working a regular engineering job. And then that company asked me to go to Singapore. Well, even before that, I wasn't training for my senior year of college.
Okay.
So, we always talk about like, hey, everybody has a different journey. I took a year off, my senior year of college. And that's something that, still bugs me, to be honest with you, because it's like, I was just so swamped though with work, with schoolwork that I just couldn't handle it. So I was like, even just a one day, like twice a week, bro.
Yeah.
It was just like, and again, it was just like, I didn't know how big jiu-jitsu was going to be as far as part of my life. Yeah, it never really was a plan to open up a gym until a little bit later. Yeah. So, anyways, once I got that job, once I went to the Bay, I tried to ask a few different gyms like what their pricing was like, bro. But I could not afford to train. Yeah, I could not afford to train. That's why, like, here, like, I usually tell like the college students, like, I'll immediately at least give them a 25% discount.
Sure.
Because like that to me back then was the difference between like training and not training, and I didn't train. You know what I mean? So like I remember still like I would go to the office, then I would like come home, like freaking just play video games. Like I couldn't even afford going to like a regular ass like 24-hour gym or something like that. So it was like, bro, what am I freaking doing? Right. So then my company was like, hey, do you want to go to Singapore? And I was like, all right. At that point I was like, are you going to pay for housing, and all that stuff? So, cause I was just renting a room in the Bay.
Sure.
So then they sent me off to Singapore. I didn't have to pay for housing, it was great. Financially, it was great. So I got there and then I found, the University of Singapore, I think it was like, I forgot what it was. University, whatever. It's not a very big country.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of universities from my recollection.
Yeah.
But I found that there was a club there.
Okay.
And the guys were super duper cool. I think they were all like white belts and maybe one blue belt, and I was a blue belt too, but out of shape blue belt.
Sure.
At that point, it had been like almost like 2 years not training.
Yeah.
Bro, it was raw. It was gassy.
Yeah.
So then I ended up doing some stuff over there for like 8 months. So I lived there for 8 months.
Okay.
It was kind of crazy out there. I didn't train very much. It was kind of crazy. Towards the end of it, I ended up doing some stuff for the company that I was not happy with. And I just did not agree with some of their business practices. So then I immediately started applying for jobs. And then, you know, I reached out to my old college counselor and I was like, hey, you know, thanks for everything. You know, you've been great. And then she asked me, she's like, hey, you know, how's everything going? And I was like, it's cool. I'm just looking for another job. So, and then she goes, oh, I just got something in my inbox. Do you want to look at it? And I was like, yeah, yeah, please. And so then I applied for HP and then I ended up getting the job, which is great.
Okay.
And then I moved here. So from Singapore, I came back and then I went to work at HP and then I started training at Infinite.
Okay.
So that was probably the beginning of a more stable situation when I got a job at HP.
Yeah.
They started paying me decently because I worked with a startup and it was just not good. They gave me some shares of like blah, blah, the company. It just was not the business. But here it was great. Everything was really stable. Training over at Infinite was great too. So then I was like, okay, this is kind of fun. Like, I feel like I have a little bit of a groove. The people were really cool. Like my training partners were great, you know, and yeah. So I think that's when it kind of like started becoming more of a like an everyday kind of a thing and more part of my life, you know. It was before, but not the same, not the same. This is where it was like, yeah.
So we've, you know, over the course of the years, we've had quite a number of Infinite students end up over here.
Oh yeah.
You know, for whatever, you know, one reason or another. We don't have to get into that. But so one of the things that's always been like a main sort of driving conversation between us has been the culture of this place. And even just like you're mentioning, you know, putting thought into the fact that a college kid might be having a hard time paying.
Oh yeah.
But we don't want you to not train, right?
Right.
Your heart has always been, or at least it always seems to me like the money comes last, right? It's way more about let's foster the community, let's build relationships, let's keep people training, you know. Where did that, is that just something that's in you, or like what was, can you talk a little bit about the difference in the culture? Not, it doesn't have to be a Infinite, but just in general, having so many relationships with so many different schools and running SPT and all the people that you know in the small community.
Right. Yeah.
How did you come up with what you wanted the culture here to be?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
like what was that based around?
Yeah. So I guess it's almost like two different trains of thought come to mind, right? One is the financial aspect of it. And then one is like, why did you start the school to begin with, right? Like those are the two kind of thought processes that I'm thinking, right? Like with respect to the financial, like first of all, like I 100% think that I am incredibly like lucky to be doing this. And in general, like this is not something that, you know, I didn't go to college for this, if you will. You know, I went to college for engineering. You know what I mean? Like, never thought I would be running a successful school with like a bunch of freaking awesome people. Like that's for sure.
Yeah.
And I mean, as far as like, you know, yeah, I usually try really hard to make sure that people are in here, regardless if they have money or not, to be honest with you, right? Like, I mean, there's been multiple times where as a matter of fact, there was somebody who just came in recently from another school, like, I think they're like in Carmichael or something. But they were like, hey, you know, like, you know, I do want to come train with you guys. It's just like, I just don't have the money right now. I was like, bro, just come in. You know what I mean? Like, I've known this person from a while. I was like, just come in, bro. Like, don't worry about payment right now. Like, I know, like, if you know, get on back on your feet, if you will. And then he's like, no, like, I want to pay. I know how it is with small business. You know what I mean? And I'm like, okay, and then he goes, but like, you know, I'll come pay when I can. And I'm like, well, that's no, that's the opposite of what I want. You know, it's like, no, I'm telling you, bro, just come in now. Right. You know what I mean? And then when you get on your feet or whatever, then we'll figure it out. It's not that big of a deal. You know, like obviously, like, you know, I mean, shoot, we did that. One of the like fundraiser that we did like at the end of last year. You know, for the holidays and stuff like that. Like that's the kind of stuff that I'm super passionate about, right? So what we did last year, for those who don't know, is that we put it out to the school and we're like, hey guys, like, you know, holidays tend to be a tough time for a lot of people. So let's just go ahead and raise some money for them. And the school will match up to $2,000, right? Yeah. So we raised above that. So the school donated $2,000. You know, we collected a bunch of money and then kind of spread it amongst our community, the members
Yeah.
who are neat. So, I mean, things like that. I mean, I think that's like honestly like one of the coolest things about us being able to do. You know, I feel like
It's massive.
you know I don't even know if it like it definitely takes people. For example, I know for a fact that it did. It helped people kind of get through the holidays and stuff like that. With a lot less. I think it was a lot less stress based on the feedback that I
Yeah.
got. You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
which is really great. So, like, dude, like that's what else do you want in life? You know what I mean? Like, you have a great place to train. Like, I have a regular job too, so it's
Sure.
not like I'm not necessarily like needing for money, so it's not like the biggest deal to me. But like whenever I can get back, like I 100% will. You know what I mean? I think view it as an opportunity. You know?
I, and I think it's so interesting. So before we ended up here, I reached out to a couple of academies and just that were near us, and one of them is closer over to like the Granite Bay area where we were, and they must use like some sort of a reminder system to have them call out to people who were prospective members
Yeah.
in the beginning,
Sure.
right? And I have this really funny text chain that I read back to myself every once in a while just to
Yeah.
make me laugh, because it literally starts out as me as a white belt. And I said, "Oh, we found a school, but thank you. I appreciate you reaching out or whatever,
Yeah,
blah,
yeah.
blah, blah." And then the next one goes, "Hey, just reaching out to see if you're interested." And I'm like, "Oh, I just got my blue belt." And literally, I have this whole chain of me going, "Oh, I just picked up my purple last
That's
weekend or
hilarious, bro.
or brown belt."
Oh my god!
And,
Trying to get one for the black belt?
No, I haven't gotten the new one yet. I'm totally waiting for it. Like, no, I have a black belt. I'm teaching at the academy that I've been at for the last 8
That's
years while you've been
awesome.
texting
Yeah.
me.
That's great. I love that.
But like, think about what you will about how you have to run a business.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But it definitely is a different model,
Yeah.
right? I never feel pressure here. I never feel like you're trying to build a corporation.
Right.
It's always literally like, how can we make this school better?
Yeah, that's literally what I think too.
And no, I mean, that I think is a major part of why the culture is able to maintain itself. The people who come up that want to, like I said, I came into this thing thinking, okay, if any of these instructors disappear after a month, I'm done with jujitsu. I'm not doing this. Right?
Yeah.
I've already that's two. That's
Right.
two
Yeah,
for the
yeah,
universe.
yeah.
This is not your thing.
Yeah.
But it felt like a special place from the beginning for me. Like I think for the last 7 years, 5 out of 7 t-shirts that I wear every day is an Aries shirt.
Yeah.
It literally is like the only clothes I ever wear. You make nice soft t-shirts, so that doesn't hurt.
Yeah, of course.
But I've had every iteration of the Aries and open guard shirts that I could get my hands on. Because I loved it so much. Like, I'm a big believer in promoting what you love.
Right.
And also, you weren't the only owner. When I came in, there was a small ownership group. But probably we spent the most time talking out of all of that. And just that, like, you saw someone like me that would come up and go, and I can be, I don't know if you know this about me, I can be kind of forceful when I feel a certain way.
Oh yeah? No shit, Randy. No, okay.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, brother.
My cousin calls it passionate. So I can get real passionate about things.
That's what I would call it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't call it forceful either.
Yeah.
I wouldn't call it forceful. I would definitely call it passionate.
Yeah. It's a I love this place, and I've talked about it at every promotion. I talk about it in the classes that I get to be part of. Like, it's been a special place for me all that time. And there have been rough patches. There have been rough years, like any place will have, where human beings are running it.
Right.
But the culture and the importance of doing it right and running this place right and keeping it about the students. And, I think that it's just a special thing to be able to maintain a culture like that. That's so complicated with so many people.
Yeah.
More and more people get involved, and owners come and go, and but I think that you probably could take it as a compliment that so many people over the years come and go, dude, how can I be part of this place? Like,
Yeah.
how can I buy in, or what can I do?
Yeah, right.
It's a really, I don't, and so you'll have to speak to this, but I don't think that's a common thing everywhere.
No,
Right.
no, definitely, definitely is not. Yeah.
And I've stopped in at a few. I've been lucky enough to travel around now. I've gotten to get down to Samir's place in Modesto, and I've gotten out to Kenny's place in Georgia. Um, how did the Aries conversation enter the picture for you? How did that start to become a thing?
Yeah. I think it was just it's okay. So this whole entire process, blame John for.
Okay.
Okay. Blame John J for. Okay. So he's the first one. So we were obviously training at Infinite. He's the first one who started training. This is like towards the end of us being there anyways, right? And you know, we were for lack of a better term, like I got injured, and then I ended up kind of having one foot out the door, the injured foot out the door, the injured leg out the door. And then, John was like, hey, because me and John had SPT at that time together.
Yeah.
So then he's like, hey, just letting you know, I'm going to be training with Casino. And I was like, bro, what? What do you mean you're going to be training with Casino? Yeah, I'm going to do a project with Casino. And I was like, bro, let me come. Like, where are you going? Make a carpool. So then that's kind of what the whole process started. It was John letting me know that he was going to train with Kishino.
Okay.
And then basically everything just happened from that one comment.
Yeah.
Because I was like, let me go. I want to go too.
Yeah.
And then, so we went to do the private. It was like me, John, Danger Dan. I don't know if you know him. And then Jerry. So 4 of us who went down there. And that's basically the first ownership group that was with Aries. It was before Aries was even a thing too. So, I mean, that's how it started. And, it's definitely morphed a little bit. People's priorities shifted, and just like life happened, it's already been 10 years,
Yeah, that's wild.
10 years. So it's a lot happens in a people business, if you will. And yeah, I would definitely say we didn't really treat it as a business for a lot of years. And to be honest with you, like, it's the business part is kind of like not the most fun part.
Right. It's the sucky part.
Yeah. But like that's why I've needed to have so much help. Right.
Yeah.
And it's like, bro, the business part is a lot of stuff. Like there's a lot of like regulatory stuff, like with like insurance and like bringing the workers comp. I mean, there's like what? Like the first time I heard about workers comp, this was after like a long time doing this. And then once we started like hiring like employees and stuff like that, and I was like, what is workers comp? And we got audited one time just for, apparently it's relatively normal to get audited for workers comp. Basically, they just kind of like do it like every other year or something like that. And they send you some letters, and it's like, they want you to know who's on the payroll to kind of get an assessment. I was freaking out the first time. I was like, what are you talking about? We're getting audited. So I kind of like, I kind of dragged my feet on that one too. We got it done and everything, but I sent it to my accountant. My accountant was like, oh, it's normal. Don't trip out. And I was like, all right, cool. Thanks, guys. But definitely have an accountant if you're starting a business. Like, bro, don't do that on your own at all. Yeah.
So you start the business. Where was the first
location?
Yeah, location.
So it was, I guess, I don't think we started it in John's garage. We trained there first, but I think the business was started right after that. And it was because of Casino. So the problem is that Casino, not the problem, but so Casino was like, hey, you guys are always coming to the Bay. Because I think he was training at like Pleasant Hill, I think it was.
Okay.
Or he was teaching in Pleasant Hill under like Caesar Gracie or something. And then he's like, hey guys, you guys are always coming down here. Why don't you guys just open up a school up there? And we looked at each other and we're like, what are you talking about, bro? Like, how could you just say that with a straight face to a couple of like, brown belts and then John's a blue belt? Like, what are you talking about? Like, okay. So then, we're like, this guy's funny, bro. And then we started doing the math, and we're like the math specifically on like getting a place. So we had like a few of us had left, right? So let's just call it like, I don't know, 6 people. It's not that much, but at the same time, like, what's the tuition for 6 people? You know, maybe we're paying like 100, call it $100. I don't know what it was before.
Yeah.
But call it $100 for simplicity. So that's like already $600. So we're like, okay, well, like I shoot, man, like maybe we could just get like a small unit, pay like $1,000 to rent, and then have him come up. Because dude, Casino literally came and taught at our academy for free.
Yeah, that's wild.
That's insane. So we're like, that's to me at the time, it was kind of like you're just freaking playing basketball at the park, and then like, you know, Michael Jordan shows up, and it's like, hey, you guys want to learn how to do this better? And it's like, yeah, bro, yeah. What do you need? What do you? Yeah.
Yeah, right.
That's kind of what it felt like to us, and we're like, dude, we should just like, I mean, it would save us all, you know, a trip down there. You know, I mean, he's offering. It would be rude to say no, right?
Absolutely.
So yeah, that's basically what happened. So we ended up opening a gym off of Lead Hill. And okay, I'm trying to remember. We called it Aries. So Casino told us, hey, we're going to open up something. So we were training under him, and we're like, we're in. Okay, so this is something that me and Paul always talk about, because he's all like, he keeps telling me his reasons for why he thinks he had the first Aries. And then I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about, bro. Like, because the first day that Casino said, like, they're starting Aries, we're like, we're in. We're in before you even mentioned the word Aries.
Yeah.
We're in. So yeah, Paul keeps saying that. I don't know. We'll just let him talk.
We love you, Paul.
Yeah, Paul. Yeah, I don't know, Paul. We could fight about it. I don't. Yeah. So anyways, we started a gym, Aries Roseville, and I hesitate because there was an Aries Rockland in there.
Okay.
I don't know if you've ever seen those shirts. There was a time.
Okay.
We were Aries Rockland.
Okay.
All within like 2 blocks of each other.
Sure.
This is the problem with living on the border of
100%.
cities, you know? But we did Aries Roseville off of Lead Hill. It was like this tiny little space behind a CrossFit joint.
Okay.
It didn't last very long. It didn't last. I would put that under the failure marker. You know, but that's the thing, is like you have to fail so many times. And like we didn't really consider it a failure. It's kind of how you look at it. Like sometimes when you fail, you make it a big deal, and sometimes you don't, you know? And like, I think that's kind of an important thing. Like, I think failure is just part of life. And if you don't think too much of it, you know, it's kind of like it's like a marathon, you know, it's not a sprint.
Jiu-Jitsu helps with that philosophy.
Yeah,
Exactly.
it's so true.
You know?
Yeah. But then, so we had that school. It was, these mats are comfortable, right? It was not like this before.
For sure.
It was not like that before.
It wasn't even like this here.
When we first like that when you first started.
Yeah, we were here for a while.
Yeah. Okay, so one thing most people watching, or most people in jiu-jitsu now that won't remember, is that there was no money in jiu-jitsu before.
Sure.
Like the fact that all these like schools and school owners are actually able to get paid is relatively new. It's basically post for most of it. It's post COVID.
Yeah, sure.
Before COVID, most of these schools were not nearly as big. Guarantee you, COVID like double, tripled most academy student base.
Yeah.
Which is wild. So before,
everybody was desperate to get out and do something after having been locked in.
There was a lot of reasons why. Joe Rogan,
Yeah.
huge part of it. Like I think that's probably something that can't. I don't think people realize how much of an impact he had.
Yeah.
He had on it. Yeah.
Even though he's a 10th planet guy, we'll
bro, you know, I had a conversation recently with somebody at my work, and they were looking for a gym in Woodland. And then I have a friend, Julian Flowers, one of Casio's guys, who I think he's just an instructor there, as opposed to the owner there. But like, I thought he was the owner there. Anyways, but I told my friend, hey, go train with Julian. You know, he's an avid competitor, super cool guy, really down to earth. Like, you'll love his academy. You'll love the jiu-jitsu there. So what I'm getting at is that funny enough, dude, I don't view jiu-jitsu in that competitive nature where it's like us versus them, or like 10th planet versus this or whatever, you know what I mean? Or like gi versus no gi. It's like, I think as jiu-jitsu grows, there's gonna be like people who are attracted to certain things, and then they just go there. You know what I mean?
100%.
So like when people leave the academy, because people leave the academy too, it literally is like, that's cool, man. Whatever you got to do, you know.
Yeah.
It's like,
Find what you're looking
yeah,
for.
yeah. It's
Just don't stop training, right? Like
right,
keep
exactly.
training.
Yeah. Because for every person that leaves, like, you know, maybe 1.5 or 2 people show up too, you know, and then they're moving from other cities, other states, other whatevers, you know what I mean? Or just picking it up because they have a friend who is like, hey, you know, you live in Roseville now. Go train
Yeah.
in areas. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? So
I think that's another shining example of the culture here, you know, and actually one that gets mentioned to me a lot because when I first wanted to get involved in jiu-jitsu, I called a friend of mine that I actually just had on the podcast, Tom Flowers. He trains down in Mission Viejo.
Mhm.
And
oh, it's a nice area, bro.
beautiful. There.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
And so he goes to a specific academy, and at that academy, you have to buy a specific gi, you have to buy a specific rash guard, and you have to, if you go to visit, you have to rent a gi or a rash guard so that even a visitor is rolling in the same stuff or whatever.
Right.
It's like really rigid and kind of looked down upon for you not to appreciate that culture. And then I come here and it's like, show up in your dirty rash.
No. That's the only thing I will say. As long as it's clean.
Yeah.
Only thing I say.
Yeah.
But I get you know, it, but
show up in what you have.
yes, 100%,
you know,
yes.
clean when you have.
Yeah.
But show up and you're welcome.
Yeah.
You know, and so I think I get asked that question more than most questions by new students here. Like, oh, do I have to buy a certain gi? And I'm like, no.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and the owner of this place also owns his own gi company. You don't have to buy those gis either.
Yeah.
You don't want to.
Listen.
Like, they're great.
Yeah.
You don't have to.
Right.
You know, and so just that, like I said, just the culture element of it where I think what it does is it eliminates all of those barriers to entry.
Yeah.
Right. It makes you go, well, any concerns that I could have had for coming here, what's left?
Yeah.
You know, like what's left to be concerned about. But I think that what you meant, something you just mentioned, leads to the other part of this place, and that is legacy. So it's so interesting because as I've gone through the process of, I came from wrestling a little bit and I started because my boys were wrestling.
Yeah. That hierarchy.
You got to keep it going. You got to keep the boys in check. This was really I was like, I can't let the power balance.
No, you can't.
And my boys are
big
monsters.
They're big boys.
And they had no problems, working together to beat old dad. It was like a real thing.
When do you think that's going to happen, bro?
Oh, dude,
how old are you?
God bless. I am.
Oh, we're not saying it. It's not like they just say again. We're not going to say it.
Next month.
Give me a range.
Yeah. And actually in 2 weeks, I'll be 47.
Oh, it's a real age?
Yeah.
Oh, that's good, bro.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and incidentally, best shape of my life.
Okay.
Like no question.
Yeah.
Even when I was a kid, just I would manage to somehow convert this old man strength into actual usable strength. That's not just a survival thing. It's actually now like I can play with it a little bit, which is, like I said, jiu-jitsu just teaching you things, that I believe to be opposite of those.
Right.
But I always tell kind of a funny story. I mean, it's a terrifying story, right? Of the first time I met Jimmy. Jimmy comes to my house and then
he's a terrifying guy, bro.
He's a terrifying guy. I mean, absolute teddy bear, heart of gold, right?
Yeah.
But he is a terrifying specimen of humanity. I love him to death. But yeah, thank God he loves me too. Because he is terrifying. And he came to the house and literally, he, in the way Jimmy teaches, he says, okay, I'm here and he's in top side control and I'm already miserable and I'm I'm like less than a month in, I'm a white belt. I have no idea what's even possible here.
Yeah.
And he said, most people, what they do when you start attacking this is they do what's called answering the phone. So he goes, answer the phone. So I go to answer the phone and his arm comes through and he Ezekiel choked me. and cracked my trachea.
And he made you get that tattoo.
He made me get it. He did not make it. It's not even spelled right. But it is ironic because I do love these real joke, and I do use this art
Dude,
form.
Manly loves baby.
He loves them too.
Manly loves
He loves them too. But so I talked funny for a month, and my throat hurt, whatever. And then I kind of, I told the rash guard story at the,
Yeah.
I had a couple of things like that, like little interactions with Jimmy.
Yeah.
So now I'm on the other side of it, right? And I see him interacting with white and blue belts, and I go, yeah, okay. Like I can tell which ones of you that Jimmy already sees potential in, and I can tell which ones he thinks are going to quit in a month based off of how he's treating me right now.
Yeah.
Like,
man, I've been wrong so many times. I feel like towards like who's going to stay?
Who's going to stay?
Yeah, who's going to stay? Bro, I feel like I've been wrong like more often than I've been right.
Sure.
It's weird.
Sure. Which I think is beautiful, right? That speaks to the power of how that transformation can really take hold of you. And we talk about addiction, but I mean, what better thing to be addicted to than something that improves every area of your life at once, like crazy, right?
Yeah.
And so it was probably like mid white belt when I met Jordan Lopez, right?
Monster too.
And he was like a 2-stripe blue belt, but downhill mountain biker.
You met him as a blue belt.
I met him as a blue belt.
Man, I guess you're lucky in that. Man, people were upset when he was a white belt.
Yes.
You got a lot of complaints.
Yeah. Just a nightmare to deal with. But for me, what was interesting was going into that place, like I found myself in the beginning naturally trying to find out the people who didn't look like they were working as hard, right? Like, cause I thought I'm not gonna be able to keep up with any of these people, but if they already look kind of lazy, maybe I'll have a chance of hanging in the whole class or whatever. I couldn't roll more than twice in a class, I could, I told that another story about these insane warm-ups that you were having us do.
Okay. To be fair, yes. Yeah. It was worse. It was worse 2 years ago.
Those were insane.
It was worse. Yeah.
They were insane. And I remember actually not Jordan being a jerk about it. I remember him being extremely patient and gracious to the fact that I just couldn't physically keep up with the warm-up. I couldn't do it. I couldn't do the exercise. I couldn't hold him up properly so that he could do it. I was in such horrible shape.
Yeah.
But the interesting thing is that JT at the old school, he always started on his butt. And I asked him, in the beginning, like, oh, is this the position you're starting? Because I don't know, And he said, no, you usually start standing, but I'm good standing.
Yeah.
And I'm not as good on my butt or on my back. So I start here like practicing.
Right.
I think in the whole time I've been doing jiu-jitsu, unless I was explicitly told to start standing, I think there's only a handful of times that I haven't started either on my butt or on my back, just always.
Yeah.
And now, because Jordan's one of those sickos who's like, okay, I need to learn how to escape from mount. So for the next 6 months, I'm going to have everybody start in high mount on me, with already a bad grip on my collar.
Right.
And I'm going to just try to tap or survive, you know? And then he does that for 6 months or a year, Right. And then because I came up in that same time, I started doing that. Like, okay, I'm fine suffering. I'll do this. I didn't really want to candidly, I did not want to. I did not want to try to do that with Jordan.
Yeah.
I did not want to do that with Jimmy.
Tough.
I didn't want to do it with you. I don't, any of those people who were going to just smash the life out of me the whole time. And I'm like, I can't, I have nothing here. I literally feel helpless. I have nothing. But I remember COVID happening and how everything stopped. And then I was like texting you every other day, like, hey, what are we doing here? And you're like, yeah, sorry, man. We're all trying to figure out what's going on. I'm like, okay. But I remember coming back in that first class, and this is where I think the idea of, some people refer to it as like a light bulb going off. I've always referred to it in my journey as a switch getting flipped on. Something that had previously, the potential was there, but it was in the off position.
Yeah.
Right. I'm waiting and waiting and waiting for the school to open back up. And finally, you're like, okay, dude, I'll meet you up there. Like, let's just go.
Yeah.
Right. And so I come up and we're sitting there and we're heavy, like just we've all been stuck at home.
Right.
And
we were all out of shape.
It was all out of shape. Right. And I had learned during that, a couple of people had been doing some like stuff at home that you could follow along with. So Zoom calls or things like that.
Yeah. We tried it for a little bit too. I don't know if you.
Yeah. That's. And so even like I was watching that and I was watching like whatever I could absorb.
Yeah.
I was trying to get it all. And I came in and I was like, man, this is going to suck.
Yeah.
I want to do it so bad, but it's going to suck. And I remember you were kind of just distracted, like looking off a little bit for a second. And I thought, I'm just going to try this thing that I saw on the Zoom call and just see what happens. And I kicked your knee out and instantly I was on top.
Nice.
And I was like, oh my God. You know what I mean? Like, yes, that is possible.
Yeah.
Like you weren't paying attention. You weren't fighting back. It wasn't a legit sweep, but it was there, right? It was there.
It happened.
And because of that, I went, oh yeah. And I think once we started class back up, I think the next promotion I ended up getting my blue belt, because it was just that sort of thing. And so when we talk about,
oh, you were white belt.
I was a white belt.
Yeah, that's very legit.
And the other thing, the other thing, 100% it was not. But the other thing about it was leading up to that, because probably the 6 months leading up to that, I'd been working with Jordan a lot. And I'd finally gotten up to the point where I was doing like 4 classes a week, sometimes 5.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, I'm ready. And then all of a sudden it was like, so right when I just had started gaining momentum, then I couldn't train anymore.
Brutal.
It's just awful, awful. But that was like, again, another one of those moments where it was like, okay, JT's got me starting in a bad spot, right? Jordan's got me starting in even worse spots, but he's more me starting mounted on top of him or in top side controller. I'm in control-ish, right? But then working with you and starting to like see the way that you played that game, then I started incorporating some of those little things. Man,
I was the smallest person you mentioned.
Smallest person, but it didn't feel like that, right? Like you have terrible pressure. You have the worst knee on belly in the school. It's like it's crazy. It's literally crazy. I remember one time doing a unicorn roll and you ended up being one of my rounds. It's like 8 minutes.
Yeah.
And 3 minutes in, you got up in a knee on belly and you were sitting there. And I looked at you and I said, I got to be honest with you. I can't sit here for 5 more minutes like this. I'm going to start tapping. And you got off the belly. I was like, I can't do it. I cannot do that.
That's fine. Bro, honestly, I feel like, honestly, it's funny because I think that's completely valid.
Yeah.
I think that's completely valid.
Like, I feel like, I can't do it.
If somebody were to tell, you did. If somebody were to tell me like, hey, you know what? Like, do something else because like, I'm done.
Get nothing here.
What do you want from me?
My soul is crushed. I'm not getting out of this.
Right.
It's just going to get worse and worse, which, as it turns out is fine.
Yeah.
But
that is actually a technique too, not just knee on belly, but just like side control pressure.
Yeah.
That it's such a weird technique, but it is so like it's real. Like people,
unbelievable.
So people always are saying like, oh, you shouldn't tap the pressure, but bro, it's real. You know what I'm saying? Like sometimes like it's real.
Yeah.
Like I was rolling with JT a long time ago, and then it was so tough to get him off of side control. Specifically Kesagatani. He's a big boy. Once you get it in there, it's tough. So I remember I told him like later, I was like, look, I need to be able to get out of this shit. So do it again.
Yeah.
Do it again.
Yeah.
Do it again. So I would like bridge him. I would fight so hard just to kind of get him off me until one time I popped the rib. When I was bridging, just because Katami with JT it's tough.
Or
So like I popped the rib. And then I was like, oh, I forgot. There's like a limitation to your body. Because he was significantly bigger than you.
Yeah.
Significantly at the time, JT. It was a while ago, okay? A while ago. But yeah, dude, it's something you forget that there is actual limitations on your body.
Yeah.
And you know, that would like weight brackets exist for a reason. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah.
Yeah. So I just think about that, like, even though I didn't end up taking the majority of my classes under you as a teacher, it still was like I could see myself starting to work with those specific people that were feeding into what my game would eventually become, right? All the way up to Jimmy. And then, so for me, I guess it all comes back to what we started talking about, you know, just different styles of teaching and technique.
Yeah.
I don't even know if it's fair to call myself a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu practitioner, and you know, like in the strictly in that sense, because
what's that?
Well, I feel like
you're not Brazilian. Is that why?
Clearly, I'm not Brazilian. Clearly, but no, I feel like more of like a submission grappler than I do.
I guess it
necessarily. Yes, like I don't know the names of most of the moves.
You know, that's a good point. I think that's funny. So like Matt McAuliffe too, Ranger Matt, same shit.
Yeah.
He doesn't know any of the technique names either.
Yeah. I know how to do them.
That's exactly what he said. I know how to do that. I just know that, you know, and I don't expect you guys to know like the Japanese names either.
Yeah.
So like I see what you're saying. But no, I would definitely still call you.
It wasn't meant to diminish. It wasn't, you know.
No.
It was just like I think that I pull a lot of like catch wrestling style that Jimmy does. You know, and then Jordan was influenced by that, so I pull some of that. You know, but we also watch a ton of actual jiu-jitsu technique and stuff.
Yeah, I guess you're at the end of the day, right? Like Brazilian jiu-jitsu, right? Is it like does nogi fall into that, right? Yeah, it's a different skill. Like I always tell people that. Like nogi and gi, they are both grappling, obviously, but it kind of feels like rugby and football, right? That's like what I usually compare it to. That it's like they look very, very, very similar, but they're different. They're different, obviously. So would you consider Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu as part of the nogi, or is that more of just submission wrestling, or you know what would you call it? I mean, grappling for sure would encompass both, but I don't know. That's a good question.
I was like so pointed at nogi in the beginning. You know, I took so many nogi classes just because it just felt like more what I had already. I wasn't swimming upstream so much, and I actually
from wrestling.
Yeah. And I didn't start doing gi really until I signed up for Master Worlds. I mean, I was doing gi, but I didn't aim at getting better at gi until.
Well, during the COVID role, you were doing a lot of gi.
Yeah. So that's what I mean. Like, because I did an SPT at Blue, and then I did Master Worlds up.
Yeah.
And the SPT was no gi.
Yeah.
You know, because I was like, and
then Master Worlds.
And the Master Worlds was in the gi.
And this year too, Master Worlds, right?
No, but yeah. I will be cheering from the sidelines. Dude, I got to get my own blood on the belt before I.
You know
what
better way to debut a belt than to find out where you are right out the gate?
So I clearly know how you feel about competition. And I just have a different philosophical leaning in that.
How do you think I feel about competition?
I think that, well, first of all, you've never been someone who pressured me or anyone that I.
And we didn't just capture that on camera.
And we didn't just camera, yeah. Hashtag Cole. No, I'm just,
Poor Cole.
I'm just kidding. Leo, leave me alone. No, I think that, like I said, you must on some level be proud of what you've accomplished.
Bro, okay, so this is my delusion, right? Because I think all of you guys could become world champions.
Yeah.
At your given age and,
Sure.
and so like 100%, like, bro, like, are you kidding me? Like, I 100% think like Colesaw can become a world champion.
Sure.
I think, like Paul Warren, like people who I've just like been bugging, like, hey, bro,
Yeah,
let's do it. Like freaking Brian, you know what I mean? Like I definitely think you could actually do it too. Like you said, you're 47.
Yeah.
Yeah, bro, you're fine. You go out there and kill it.
Black belts?
It's only been black belt for like 20 years, bro. I mean, come on, bro. You've been a black belt for at least like what? Like
a couple of weeks now. Yeah. I mean, it's old hat now.
what more do you want? You know?
How many? No. Stop trying to derail me. I'm not saying that I've stopped speaking in absolutes, so I'm not saying it'll never happen again.
Okay.
But it's definitely I'm. You know the thing I said about him not pressuring me? I'm going to take that back. I'm enjoying so much spreading the love and, and helping our students and
100%,
building and getting better at teaching. And, I've had like some really amazing opportunities to teach under some of you guys. And that's the other component of legacy, right? And you mentioned the black belt, but I had a couple of people, specifically people that were black belts already. Excuse me.
COVID, bro.
Yeah, it's coming back. I never got it the first time. I don't know. So weird. But God, what was I saying?
You said legacy,
Yeah.
and then you said you're enjoying.
I'm enjoying the teaching,
and then you said some people recently came up to you or have come up to you.
And were talking to me about imposter syndrome.
That's real, bro.
Yeah. And they were. It wasn't even me bringing it up. It was like them bringing it up. Like,
you're an imposter.
You haven't? Are you? Yeah. Yeah. Like, oh, really? They gave you that? I haven't had anybody say that, which I don't know that like necessarily would say it,
They
but
me, though.
Yeah, they're like, Julio, what are you doing? Yeah, that's fine. Keep it to yourself. I don't need to do that.
We won't tell you. Don't worry. We won't tell you.
But one of the things that that we've always talked about, up through the belts and through the stripes and all that stuff is just sort of how that all works, right? And how does the stripe system work? How does the belt system work? And there's a mentality, right, that's baked into the art that says, don't fucking talk about it.
Yeah.
Right? Just like, let it happen, blah, blah, blah. But then, to me, if that's the case, like I did a martial art for a while called Kendo. I don't know if you've ever seen it.
Yeah. Super. They had it at UC Davis.
Okay, super fun, right? I love Kendo.
It looked really cool.
I actually did it at UC Davis.
Oh, what?
I did a tournament there.
Oh, shoot. I was probably there.
You probably were there. Super fun. I loved it. But in Kendo, you're a student and then you get your black belt.
Oh,
right. There's no belts. There's no progression system. Once you know Kendo, you're either a good sword fighter or you're not a good sword fighter, right? Okay. And your sensei is the one who decides that. I think that the necessity of color belts is a very American idea, right? It's something that Americans need to know. I'm paying this and I'm coming this many times. This should equal this kind of progress in my life or my game or whatever. And when you don't have that consistently, it makes you automatically start to wonder, right? Because you come up with the same group of people. So you don't always see the progress that you're making on the mats because everybody's getting better at the same time.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Yes. We have to talk about that.
We talk about it. And so then it becomes this issue of, well, how important is stripes? How important are belts?
Yeah.
Well, not really in the grand scheme of things. They're not really that important.
Yeah,
right?
We all die.
Because we all die at some point, right? I will die with a black belt on.
Let's go.
But we all do die at some point.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, there has to be that symbol of progress for you to understand whoever's in charge of making those decisions has evaluated me and has found me to possess this skill level.
Right.
And
Yeah.
they are now giving me the opportunity to represent that skill level in front of the rest of my
Yeah.
school and in the jiu-jitsu community.
Right.
And,
Yeah.
and so when I got to my brown belt, I had actually gotten 1 stripe on my white belt, 2 on my blue, 3 on my
Right.
purple.
Yes, I saw you.
Right. So I had this whole, and it's so weird.
Yeah.
Just how it worked out.
Really, yeah.
Right. And then as a joke, they gave me the last 2 stripes on my brown
Right.
belt.
Yeah. It was not a joke, but
But you know what I'm saying.
yes, yeah.
Just because I was like, I don't care at this point, like whatever. And they were like, oh. But anyway, it was super funny and fun. But when I got to that point, I went to Jimmy and I said, hey, I'm teaching it under you, I'm paying attention. And he said, listen, I've got it. Right. Like, don't worry about it. When it comes time, I'll let you know. You don't have to think about it. You don't have to worry about it. If you don't see stripes, don't worry about it. Right. Like, anyway. And so over the course of teaching and through my brown belt, he had literally every black belt in the school that would come through Saturday. And he's like, put Randy to the test, like roll with him, listen to what he teaches, listen to his reasoning, watch him with other people. He had all these people come through and it was always like kind of nerve wracking, like I know these guys are my friends, but then I can see that they're evaluating me.
Yeah.
And so when I had that conversation with you guys and it was like, no, it's happening, we're going to do this. And up till now, knock on wood, I felt like there was so much scrutiny going into it that I didn't need to have imposter syndrome about it. Like regardless of how I felt about it, like people that I know should know better, right, are saying that this is where you're at.
Yeah.
Such an important thing, such an important thing to pass on. How important and how satisfying is it for you to see somebody, especially like me, hobble in here limping and fat and out of shape? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then get to this point where you're actually tying a belt on me, like.
Yeah. That's literally the dream, right? Yeah. That's literally what every instructor hopes from everybody walking in, right? Like we genuinely, like, at least I do. I shouldn't speak for everybody, but like every time I see somebody walking the doors, I hope they stick with it till they're black belt, right? Like, and again, it doesn't matter if it's here or anywhere else. I don't really care. I just am a huge proponent of people training, jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
And like it really obviously, like, we talked about like, one day I'm gonna be gone. It doesn't matter.
Sure.
Like I hope that, I'm able to push more people to do jiu-jitsu, and like it doesn't matter if they train here or elsewhere. You know what I mean? Like if I meet somebody on the streets and I tell them like, hey, you should go train or whatever, like that's not gonna financially benefit me, for example. Like I don't care. You know what I mean? Like that's not why I do it. It's just, like I've learned to enjoy it. I've learned everything that there is to the sport, and I've obviously even explored further to like, brands, if you will, and like tournaments and like everything that you could think of with jiu-jitsu that like related to business. And it wasn't necessarily for the money. It's more literally for like, because we needed it.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird. Yeah. Like I grew up in a really like weird time in jiu-jitsu where like there wasn't a lot of options for like brands, for example, and there weren't that many tournaments around. Like the community needed it at the time. So like it was never really about the money. And like same thing with the academy. Like, we started it because I felt like we needed the academy to be here for us. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
And I'm just freaking thrilled that people, enjoy it here. Honestly, like whenever we get like a 5-star review or like anybody saying anything positive about the instructors, like I get super happy.
Yeah.
They're like, freaking Randy's class was awesome. Like, dude, hell yeah, dude. That's what I'm talking.
I'm saying on Google.
Yeah, right. What's the review on Google? No, but like, it really does make a big difference. You know what I mean? People saying like, oh, I love the 3:00 time slot. I'm glad you guys opened it up. Back to the great instructor, blah, blah. Like, fuck yeah, dude. Like, that's what I want to hear. You know what I mean? Like, shoot, the 3:00 time. I know we're like getting away from the belts, but like the 3:00 time slot that we created here, for example, that was started because David Woodard brought it up to my attention. Like, hey man, like, is there any chance that you could do like a 3 o'clock kind of class? And I'm like, is it something that you would go? I mean, yeah, like literally maybe. Like, is it something that you would go to like regularly?
Yeah.
And then, because like, me, I'm just like, yeah, bro, like if you could get like 2 other people to do it, if you get 3 people minimum, then yeah, I'll pay for it.
Sure.
Like, we'll open that class up
Sure.
and then we'll do it. Like it's fine. Like I just want people to have the option. And that's how we ended up with so many freaking classes.
Yeah.
But yeah, now we have that time slot too, right? And now we have Tyler's like 10 a.m. class on Sunday, and right before the open mat. I mean, we just have like a ton of classes because, and I mean, recently I was talking to somebody about, they were like, hey, do you happen to have any like 9 or 10 o'clock classes? And I was like, look, bro, if you
Every hour on the hour, we're starting classes.
if you can get 2 to 3 people to come with you,
Yeah.
on a regular basis, we'll do a pilot.
Yeah.
And if it works, we'll put it on the schedule. You know what I mean? We'll announce it because you never know. Like some people might like it might work for them.
Sure.
That 3 o'clock time slot that I was telling you about, like that is unheard of. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
like why would you do a 3 o'clock
Right.
slot? For adults? Like what do you bro, there's like 10 people in that class,
Right.
like regularly.
Right.
And it's awesome. And they like freaking love it. It like works perfectly for them, That's the part that kind of is tricky with like scheduling and the night class. The night class here, 7 o'clock. People enjoy coming. I could guarantee you they would prefer if it was at 6 or 6:30.
Right.
You know what I mean? But unfortunately, it's just like that's just like
It's the way it works.
this is the way it works, you know what I mean? Because we have so many other classes, like the teen classes is huge,
Massive.
and those teens are gonna go to the adult class soon. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's just a circle of life,
Yeah.
Yeah. But
It's a good problem to have.
it's a good problem to have. But going back to the belt stuff, because I don't want to glaze over it too much. The stripes, I do think stripes are important. They're more important for the blue belts and the white belts.
Yeah.
I don't really think the stripes are important for the purple belts and brown belts, or even the black belts. You know what I mean? I don't think they're important. I think we like doing it's easier to do it for the upper belts, like the purple, brown, because we don't have as many.
Sure.
You know what I mean? But it's like more work to do it for the lower belt because they're so young and they don't really like most in the sport. When I say young, I mean
Yeah. Right.
they just don't really like understand what's going on. Like, and it's kind of funny because like, like I said, the blue belts think they know everything,
Yeah.
and they probably are in the worst shape, because they think they know everything and they don't, you know what I mean? But, you just gotta kind of push it along, right? Like, I mean, for the white belts, obviously they know that they don't know everything. And then the blue belts are delusional.
Yeah.
But I think the belts are when you said that people don't like to talk, or like the thought is not to talk about it, right? Obviously you know me, and
Sure.
very much the opposite of like
Yeah.
like traditional, if you will, like in that sense. I'm very much like I try to be as transparent as possible. Like I mean, like one of our policies now, at least, is we tell all the black belts before they get their black belt.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And we've extended that further into the browns and even sometimes the purples. The blue belts, no, they'll get it when they really get it, and they'll be a little bit surprised. Like I think we told like maybe like one blue belt that they were getting it just because they have a little bit more of an extended family.
Yeah.
And the family was here, so that was great. But I'm very much a transparent kind of person. So, and I actually do honestly appreciate when people are like, "Hey, what do I need to do to get an next belt?"
Yeah.
Um, the problem becomes when it's like when they mean it as in like the belt as opposed to the skill set. Like, because I interpret things differently. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I interpret things like I want to get better. So when people say like, "Hey, what do I need to do to get to the next belt?" I interpret it as what do I need to do to get better.
Yeah.
Right. To be able to have a blue belt. Right.
Yeah.
So I like again, it's like one thing that I've learned in life and in the sport is like you wanna listen to people and take them at face value. And then and if there's ever any kind of miscommunication, assume that they have good intentions.
Sure.
So when people ask me like, "Hey, what do I need to get to the next belt?" I usually explain to them like what we look for the belts, right? So I mean, for the blue belts, we don't expect as much as you think, but we definitely expect movement, right? Like that's like the biggest deal. Movement, being able to do all the warm up drills, basic escapes. Like escapes are kind of be like survival. Show me that you can survive
Yeah.
and at least like be able to control somebody who hasn't trained.
Yeah.
So sometimes when people who are brand new come in and then, they happen to get paired with like a 2 or 3 stripe white belt, like that's perfect.
Yeah.
Like, because I think at that point they've been training for like a year, maybe like a year and a half or something. So they should be able to control the situation.
Yeah.
And like, I don't necessarily expect them to have the cleanest submission. They should definitely have submissions, but I don't necessarily expect them to have the cleanest submissions.
Yeah.
I think the blue belt is I think it's probably one of the more important belts for sure. Cause I mean, that's that's the difference between them, sticking around or not, right? I mean, I know we always joke about the blue belts
Yeah.
disappearing and stuff like that.
Right.
And it's kind of true, but it doesn't bug me that that's the case in the sport because at that point it's like, it's their choice. They're adults, life happens. I mean, they've been given a proper crash course in jiu-jitsu. So
Yeah.
at that point, you could only do so much for people kind of a thing.
Now,
Mhm.
100%. I
But
mean,
I would love everybody to get a black belt though.
for sure.
Promise I would.
For sure. The sport's evolved so much, and I guess I say sport, I really think of jujitsu as an art,
Yeah,
but there definitely is a sport element to it.
of course.
And it's a whole side of, the whole other side maybe.
Yeah.
Um, but I definitely think you're right. There are factors, right? And we say everybody's journey is different and just stay on the mat. I used to, every once in a while, I sit down next to Bill Click.
Oh, he's here right now.
Is he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I would sit next to him all
He's gonna be
sweaty.
here tomorrow.
Okay, perfect.
Are you gonna be here tomorrow?
Now I will.
At noon?
No.
Okay.
But I used to sit down next to him, just like after a roll or two. And I go, all right, Bill, we have a second. What's the secret to jujitsu? And
Oh God, what did he say?
he would just lean over and he'd go, have fun. Which is,
of course, Bill would say that.
that's
Yeah.
gotta be his only answer, right?
But it's something true.
But he's absolutely right.
True though.
He's
Yeah.
absolutely right.
Yeah.
And I've been in the last couple of weeks, I've been having a lot of fun.
That's awesome.
Like a whole
Yeah.
lot. Because I
Discover neon belly on the white belt. I'm just kidding.
a little bit. No, but definitely like, hey, now it's my turn to educate you on what's possible.
Yeah.
Like it was demonstrated
Yeah.
for me, don't tap to pressure is great until your lungs are collapsed and you literally cannot take a breath in, right? There's realities to
There's
the
reality.
physical
Yeah.
world we
Yes, yes.
but anyway, I think that as we've grown as an academy, and I mean, obviously we do a promotions and the entire front wall is full of black belts,
Yeah.
right? And at any given class at this point, I'll run into anywhere from 3 to 5 or 6 black belts just showing up for classes and stuff. What do you think as you start to think about what comes next for the school, what comes next for you? What do you have an idea what that looks like?
Yeah, always. That's like all I think about.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I would probably say okay. There's a lot of things. You know how you were just, for example, you coming in and doing the fundamentals class, right? We always talk about how important the fundamentals are. It's basically no different than the school, right? It's always fundamentals in a sense of like we have to make sure like our curriculum is taught across the board,
Yep.
that the class structure is the same. And it's all really it all goes back to like the student experience, right? I am a huge proponent of that. Like that's like one of my biggest things that I focus on. And consistency is a big deal. Like I have gotten a lot of really good feedback about the consistency between a lot of the classes, especially with the curriculum. People are saying like, dude, I feel like I'm like retaining more information now that like I'm stuck on one position or one concept for, 4 weeks to 8 weeks even,
Sure.
Like right now we're doing the front headlock series and stuff like that, and people are hitting it. Freaking Coleslaw was earlier here today. And we're reviewing some tape, and he's like, "Bro, look at this." And then he showed me some tape that he recorded earlier from like 2 of the 6 a.m. guys from last Wednesday. Bro, they hit the cleanest Peruvian necktie.
Yeah.
I was like, but the problem is that they didn't finish it. So then
Uh,
I was like, why didn't they finish? He goes, I don't know.
yeah.
And then it's like, okay, clearly they're getting there, but they just don't have that finishing either mechanic or trust. And that's like what this helps you do. It's like, okay, you need to have the technique, but the confidence to actually finish it too.
Sure.
A lot of the times you have a technique and then you'll like let it go, or you'll second guess yourself and like let up a little bit. I always say like chokes are a function of time.
Yeah.
People always forget that. They're like squeeze, 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 squeeze. And then they're like,
Abandon all hope.
oh. And the other person doesn't tell them most of the time.
Yeah.
Like, oh, if you would have just held it on for like another like 5 or 6 seconds,
Yeah.
you would have tapped.
Yeah.
But that difference between an extra 5 or 6 seconds, they might be holding their breath. The person doing it might be holding their breath. I've seen that happen
Yeah,
too.
right.
Yeah, like I've seen people saying, like, man, I almost went out. Like, bro, you're the one doing the technique. What are you talking about? No, but yeah, so sorry, going back to your original
Yeah.
question.
No, it's good.
Yeah, so cleaning up, I would say like making sure all the classes are consistent. Like my priorities are definitely different than other people's priorities at the gym. You know what I mean? Like I know a lot of the instructors appreciate having a set curriculum for the next couple weeks because it allows them to ask questions or to just look up stuff. Right? That's like the cool thing about living in the today's era.
Sure.
That there's so many like instructionals online or even YouTube and stuff like that. So they can look up and then they could come back and then work with each other and then like, hey, like I think this part is really important to emphasize. And sometimes I'll like go on the group chat for the instructors and be like, hey, focus on this part of it. I've noticed that this is a really important part. Don't glaze over it. Just make sure you like, drive the point home,
Yeah.
So like, I mean, that's something, we're constantly training people on just making sure that the gym stays clean, you know what I mean? And there's always like other kind of like HR related stuff, you know what I mean?
Sure,
Like,
sure, sure.
like, but as far as like the actual students are concerned, like what should they expect? I would probably say just hopefully more consistency across the full school.
Yeah.
And the consistency means something different to everybody.
Sure.
And like sometimes people are like, hey, why does it feel like the 6 a.m., the noon, and the night class are all different? And it's like, bro, it's because of the personalities, bro. Like there's nothing like you can't replicate exactly the same environment
Right.
with different people.
Right.
It's just gonna be different, So we could only try to keep the environment, the physical environment the same. But honestly, people always say that the 6 a.m. crew are just a bunch of savages.
Yeah.
And it's because they just like hate sleeping and hate life. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Right.
That's why they're there at 6 in the morning, right?
Right.
Yeah, they're just madmen,
Yeah.
But no, it's like everybody's like every group is different, and and I really appreciate the differences that everybody brings. Like as a matter of fact, like people shine at every different time slot. Like I kind of do view them as like a little bit different, and they kind of are. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Because but they're like still all part of the same team, and that's like ultimately like the biggest takeaway, right? I mean, because like for example, Rex in the 6 a.m. He's one of the my favorite Ukis too, and he like really brings people under his wing too, And then you have the same thing for the noon crew and the same thing for the night crew. You have a bunch of different people, and like the culture's different, but only a little bit. You know what I mean? And that's just like the natural difference of people and different groups and stuff. So
yeah. Well, this was a real jiu-jitsu heavy episode, but that's okay. That's okay. That's totally good. We've got some more like cool stuff and some panel stuff coming up that I want to do. I think I'm going to try to live stream from Linda's grand opening.
Ooh. That'd be fun.
Linda's grand opening.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Just leave an open seat and have people stop in and
that'd be great.
talk and chat.
That's a really good idea.
Doing it live.
Yeah. July 25th.
July 25th. Yeah, July 25th.
It's coming on real quick.
Aries Fair Oaks grand opening. So we'll put information for that in the description.
And we're gonna shut down the school.
And we're going to shut down this school.
This school.
Yeah, for that day.
Yes, we're all gonna show force. We're all gonna be out there.
Yeah,
and support.
yeah, it's coming along great. It's going to be awesome. Linda's the best. She got her black belt the same day I did. Such a great. I love Linda. Yeah, she's so good. So I'll wrap it up with a question that I normally ask in the interviews that aren't so much jujitsu, but just because we talked a little bit about personal stuff too.
Mhm.
If and this is I always give the disclaimer, as I stole this question, right? So I just don't want you to think that I'm passing along with this question as if I prayed about it and it came to me in a vision.
Okay. Okay.
But if you were writing the book of your life,
Mhm.
what is this chapter called?
This chapter. That's a good question. I have a few different thoughts. So, well, let me, I guess, talk out loud about it.
Let's do it. Let's talk about it.
So you know, I would probably say, like, in this time in my life, I'm reorganizing a lot of stuff. Whether it's business and just like time management and like focus and stuff like that. So I would say maybe like for me, it would probably be something closer to like organization or spring cleaning or something of that nature, or like just like refocusing, or um I I feel like that's probably what it is, where it's like I feel like I'm in a very good place where I'm like able to kind of pull myself out and view my life,
Yeah.
and I'm just trying to like simplify and dedicate time where it should be going a
Yeah.
little bit more,
Absolutely.
which is something that's kind of hard when you're always like nose to the grindstone, right?
For sure. It's important work too. Like,
Yeah.
really important
Yeah,
work.
yeah. And I mean, and I think, that, not to bring it back to jiu-jitsu, but I will say one thing that I do think it's a lot of it is because of people like you
Mhm.
and other instructors that have given me that space, and I'm able to trust you guys with the academy
Yeah.
and with the teaching, you know what I mean? With the fact that I'm able to just give you guys the curriculum and like some, I don't know if minimal guidance is the right words, but just for
We
simplicity.
stay calibrated as a school and
Right.
as your staff and as your teachers.
Right.
And you communicate those things. That makes sense.
Yeah. So what that has given me a lot of space to be able to fix what I need to fix with the academy where it needs to be. There's like some stuff that's still a little bit needs a little bit more work.
Sure.
But I'm able to tackle those a lot easier.
Yeah.
Right. Which allows me in my personal life too to be able to calibrate other things in my life. You know what I mean? Like I mean, I'm able to help Linda with the Fair Oaks Academy. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like that's something that I'm really passionate about too, just like helping other people, right? It's like, Linda came up to me and was like, hey, I really want to do this. Like, can you help me? And it's like, bro, yes,
Of course.
you came to the right place.
Right.
Yeah, that's like what we do here.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, I definitely, I enjoy helping people, and I'm really glad. On the side note too, not that I have like so much freaking time in the world, but I did go to like the Placer SPCA volunteer program, so I went in.
Okay.
I sat in on that too. So like,
Nice.
hopefully down the line, not necessarily super soon, but I do want to volunteer with the Placer SPCA.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, that's crazy.
so that's yeah, reorganization.
I like it.
Structural stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I always like to end every episode with gratitude. I think it's an important, a really important concept, that became kind of a buzzword, but I really take gratitude personally, because I don't view the transformation that took place here as a small thing. I view it as something that literally pulled me out of the fire of death. Like I was headed towards hospital beds and breathing tubes and, bad end to my life. And I absolutely, this place is a major part of the reason why that's not the trajectory that I'm on anymore. And over the years that I've been here, you met me at the door with a smile, and you're smiling today, and you smile while we're rolling, and you smile. You're just a person who just can't help but maintain that positivity, even when you're frustrated about something. It's so funny. I'll tell Michelle like, "Oh, look at this text Julio just sent me. This is mad Julio. If you want to see what this looks like," and it's literally like, "Bro, are you sure that we were having the same conversation?" It's not like mean or like angry at all. It's totally just like, I can just tell he's not smiling as big as he did.
100%.
And that has been something that I've counted on. It's been something that absolutely impacts everybody that's here. And your consistent dedication to the people, it can't be understated. I know you're saying it like it's no big deal, but it really actually is a huge deal. And it makes a big deal, and it's a big reason why, number one, why this place is still here, but also why, of all the people that were running this place when I came around, you're still here. And so I hope that whatever that is, whatever that driving force is, uh, I hope that you're here doing it for a long time.
Yeah.
Because
Thanks, man.
it really has been it's been a life changer for me. So I'm grateful to you. I love
Glad,
it.
bro.
I appreciate you're my brother.
Glad.
And I'm super just grateful that you made time to sit here and
Yeah,
and
dude.
have a chat.
I always make time for you.
No, I know, bro. I know. But you
No,
don't have to. That's what
no,
I'm saying.
you do, brother, for sure. Yeah.
And you guys out there listening, if you have not already had a chance, hit that follow button or whatever it is on any of the platforms where you watch your podcast. Subscribe, share it out. Again, it's just conversations, just authentic, real conversations with people that I love and appreciate, and that I want to introduce to you. So I'm so grateful that you're here as part of our family. Go check out all the past episodes. I think this one's number 59 or something like that.
59.
Yeah, 59. We've been cooking through them. But until next week, this has been Julio Veliz on Sweeter After Difficulty.
Perfect.
Thanks,
Thank you.
bro.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you, brother.